Hey, and welcome to Fan Theory Queries, where we analyze fan theories from all over the internet, but mostly Reddit. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer, and it is a joy, as always, to bring to you guys a theory where we get another
He's so excited about this one.
opportunity to hate on Grandpa Joe
We love it.
from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Classic go-to for us.
Yeah, it's such a...
I mean, it's
Easy
such an
to-
easy
yeah.
target.
Yep.
Okay, so this theory is Grandpa Joe is the one responsible for his family's poverty. And this was posted by user Cheese and Onion Crisps.
Sounds
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, here we go. A lot of people are probably aware of the meme hating on Grandpa Joe, and potentially the other grandparents, for lying around for all the first half of the film when his musical number proves that there's clearly nothing wrong with him. But I have a further theory. In my opinion, not only is Grandpa Joe failing to aid his family in their poverty, but I think he caused it. In the first half of the film... In the first half of the film, Grandpa Joe's main role is to be a drain on family resources and keep Charlie's hope alive about the golden tickets. He buys him 2 chocolate bars despite the family's limited funds, and despite his daughter's advice not to get Charlie's hopes up, keeps insisting that Charlie is bound to find the ticket purely on the basis that he wants it more.
Wow.
Obviously, he does turn out to be right about this, but I think we can all agree that that was just a stroke of luck. Grandpa Joe had no rational reason to believe that Charlie had any chance of finding the golden ticket, and yet he is so sure that he will. Again, he goes to the extent of buying an extra chocolate bar, despite the family as a whole being so poor that the 10-year-old's paper round counts a major contribution to family finances. And he looks so surprised when it doesn't magically turn out to be the golden ticket, even though he had no reason to believe that it would be. What does this suggest about Grandpa Joe? That he is the sort of bad guy that cruelly raises a child's hopes even when they are almost certain to be dashed. But also, that he's a gambler.
Oh, goodness.
Grandpa Joe is the sort of person who believes the world will give him big prizes just because he wants them a lot, and he's willing to bet money, like the price of a chocolate bar, on that belief. Later on, when Wonka asks the children to sign a contract upon entering the factory, Grandpa Joe is the only adult who doesn't question it, while the other parents and guardians are raising actual, pretty reasonable questions about small print and hidden clauses. What does Grandpa Joe say? Sign away, Charlie! We've got nothing to lose!
What? Why does he
I
have
don't
that
know.
accent?
These are not the words of a man with a good head for finances.
True.
Or
True.
safety.
Very true. Very true.
Obviously, losing his job at Wonka's Chocolate Factory to Oompa Loompa scab laborers can't have helped Grandpa Joe, but if that was the only reason, then you'd think the town would be full of families in just as dire straits as the Buckets. A factory that big must have been a big employer. But no, it's just them. Charlie's teacher is openly surprised that the kid only bought 2 chocolate bars, when every other child opened over 100. Every other family bounced back. Nor is it the missing father. Charlie's dad is alive in both the book and the Tim Burton adaptation, and yet the Buckets family's finances are just as bad. It's Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe bet the family savings or invested them badly and lost everything. This is why Mrs. Bucket is so okay with him lounging about the house while she and Charlie slave away to feed him. She knows that, should dear old dad finally stir his stumps and decide to help out, it'd be by heading straight down to the nearest bookie to bet the cabbage water money on a broken down horse with 0 to 1 odds. Only to be so surprised when it didn't win.
It's 100 to 1
What did
odds.
I say?
0 to 1.
On a broken down horse with 0 to 1 odds. Given that
100 to 1.
on a broken down horse with 100 to 1 odds. Only be so surprised when it didn't win. Given that he's up and about at least enough to buy Charlie that second chocolate bar, he may well be already doing this on the side.
Yeah.
honestly, it's probably only a few years until his bad investments lose Charlie the factory and have them all back out on the street.
Oh no. Oh
And that's the
no.
theory.
Oh, man.
Oh gosh.
This is gold right here.
Yeah, Grandpa
Man.
Joe, such a jerk.
I'm liking this that he's a that it said he's gambling.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Oh,
mean, because
that's
we've
good.
add that we can add that to the list of faults. Like the one theory we covered suggested that he was an alcoholic because of how he was so quick to try that fizzy lifting drink, hoping for some kind of buzz.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yes, there's that.
yeah, and so I don't know. Like a lot of this is based on kind of inference and connecting to the dots, and maybe.
Hmm.
But let's just see. Do y'all have
Yeah, we know how much you like those kind of theories.
Let's just do y'all before we dive into comments to see if there's anything substantial added. Do y'all have any questions or things to bring up?
I do like that bit about him being so surprised because he's just willing for the
Yeah,
ticket to be in the bar.
yeah,
I mean that does sound right though. Like there are those. I don't know if it's just naivety. I don't know if it's or sorry, is it
yeah.
naivete or just straight up ignorance or even just narcissism of that there are people who just simply expect that well because I think it that's what's going to
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
And and I think that that could go into a gambler's mindset of well it's me, I'm
Hmm.
smart even though
Hmm.
they kind of aren't. They don't ever consider other people in that equation.
Right.
And so therefore, I mean, it's one of those I think therefore I am like just like a if I think this it's going to happen and like I think I'm going to win a chocolate or a chocolate factory so therefore I am going
Hmm.
to win a chocolate factory come hell or high water
Yeah,
Yeah.
including signing this contract that I'm not going to read any of
that was
and
a good point. Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it too, like part of the gambling addiction is okay. Well, I didn't win, but maybe next time. Maybe next time. Or I didn't get it this time, but for sure.
yeah
And so that kind of is an element of that. Of okay, well, of course I deserve this. And so I'm gonna win, but if
mhm
it's not this time, well, of course it's gonna be next time, and that's what feeds that. Well, I'm going to win eventually because, gosh darn it, I deserve it. So I'm just gonna
Right.
keep feeding that beast.
true very true
Okay. All
yes
right, Michael. Anything? Or ready for the comments?
Um, not a whole lot to add. I love the parts about all the other parents and guardians and stuff are raising pretty reasonable questions about the
Hmm.
small print and hidden clauses,
Yeah.
and Grandpa Joe's just like, sign away, Charlie. We got nothing to lose.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
true. They
what's to
don't.
say? I mean, there's what's to say that somewhere in that contract or whatever, it doesn't say that he's basically signing away for servitude to
Yeah.
Wonka, and,
mhm
Or
or to or if he does something like looks the wrong way while they're doing this tour, then Wonka has every right to throw him into the chocolate vat to die. Just
mhm
like it's just the reckless abandon
hmm
with which he says that is. I think it's pretty good
yeah,
evidence for this theory,
it's a great
but
observation for sure.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well,
But
let's
anyway, I'm ready to hit the comments.
okay. Well, let's go on to see what Vibin and Singin says. What a beautiful psychological analysis that certainly reflects the conducts of someone whose addiction might have gone too far. That's a great sentence. The only thing I might add is that in the original movie, Grandpa pushes Charlie to skip the rules just because, which reflects a conduct of challenging authorities for the sake of proving that you're immune to consequences, which also is a conduct shown by many people sick with addiction. Too,
hmm.
and that also is a little bit of an entitlement symptom,
Ooh
which
yeah
again, he says, well, Charlie wants it more than anyone else, so he's entitled to it,
Yeah.
yes
basically.
that's true you're right that's a very good
Hmm.
observation
All right, Scruffy42 says, it's a good case against Grandpa Joe, but there are 3 other grandparents in that bed, and somehow I doubt he was the only problem.
Oh
And
man.
then OP, Cheese and Onion Crisps, responds, depends. I don't think we see any of the other grandparents walking in either of the films, and in the sequel book, it's a plot point that they have to be carried into the factory because they can't leave the bed, and Wonka tries to cure them. Plus, Grandma Georgina is definitely senile in the second film. I honestly can't remember if she is in the first one. It's possible that the other 3 genuinely are too disabled to work, and Grandpa Joe just took advantage of his wife and in law's illness to pass himself off as bedridden as well.
Good grief.
Wow.
What a deplorable
I mean, if that's
person.
true, I
Yeah.
mean, I believe it though. It's like, how
Yeah.
else do you explain his mobility?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
oh, yeah, I'm sick too.
I could,
yeah,
and that makes
and
total
and
sense.
OP started that comment off with depends, and I mean, there's going to be a lot of depends in that bed
Yes,
with
Yes.
I
those
knew you were
people.
going in that
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there about him we only seeing him be the one that's mobile, and we
Right.
don't know why they're bedridden. Like, we're not given any kind of reason other than they're old, as far as I know,
Mm-hmm.
at least in the movies.
At least in this
Yeah.
theory, we've explored that in other theories.
Right.
Yes, I forgot.
Yeah.
Um,
If you don't know what we're talking about, listener, please go back and listen to. You'll find a previous episode about
yeah,
Grandpa George.
Grandpa Joe.
Joe.
Joe,
Okay.
Grandpa George is not. He's
Yes.
innocent.
Okay, and our final comment is from Dense Abrocoma 3895. The only thing wrong with this theory is that it's mostly based on the 1970 movie, yet it mentions Joe having worked for the Wonka factory, which is only the case in the Tim Burton movie. Other than that, I fully accept this theory as fact, and I am also willing to accept any negative idea about Grandpa Joe. That's a good point.
One of us. One
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that that it was in the other one because I think it's like, doesn't he make a comment about to Wonka about having worked there, and Wonka's like, I don't know you. Maybe I'm
Yes.
misremembering that, but I feel like that
I don't
happens.
remember.
I watched that one time.
I feel like I can see Johnny Depp doing that in my mind, and he like isn't even looking Grandpa
Yeah.
Joe in the face, like he's just looking off somewhere else as
Mm-hmm.
he responds. Yeah, that sounds right.
So, I mean, it either way, it doesn't break this theory, I don't think. He does talk about he was just using that as an example of like losing his job at the factory wouldn't have been helpful. Trying to give him maybe a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there, and just using it as an example of, oh, well, everybody else could, so why couldn't he? Um, Again,
What are you talking
in the
about?
theory, he says obviously losing his job at Wonka's factory to Oompa Loompas can't have helped Grandpa Joe. But if that was the only reason, then you'd think the town
Oh,
would be full of families in dire straits as the buckets. So, that's not really the theory
yeah.
doesn't ride on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He could have lost his job anywhere, or he didn't even have to have lost a job. He could still be a crummy person if he had a job. That's
Well, he's an old man. He could have
yeah,
retired,
that too.
Yeah.
but I mean, he didn't, which is not a smart move to do when you have no retirement fund,
Right.
Um,
unless he was just depending upon his kids to take care of that for
or
him.
he gambled away his retirement.
Yep, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have anything else to add before we take a quick break?
Yeah, I mean, this is just so. Again, like we said, Grandpa Joe is such an easy target. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what a dirt bag. This stupid stain on his nightshirt.
Oh, gross. Also, a clear indicator of a gambling problem.
Yeah. But that's the thing though, like this theory, like at least there at the end when OP is talking about both films, whenever you go to like isn't it a website or is it like a Tumblr page that's all about hating
Well,
Grandpa Joe?
there is a website, and that's where it's credited as being like the originator of that whole
It's
trend. But
all
there's a whole subreddit called Grandpa Joe
yes,
Hate.
but it's all the OG film Grandpa Joe. It's
Yeah,
never the Tim Burton Grandpa Joe.
yeah. Which I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's the one in the Tim Burton's kind of like easier, a little bit more lovable. I think just of the act as the actor and his characterization. I'm totally fine with ignoring that for the sake of this theory.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can get it. Yeah, the guy played Grandpa Joe in that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
He
He's
had
a
those
little more
big eyes and
innocent
glasses. Yeah,
looking.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He didn't have the Coke fingernails. Do you know what I'm talking about,
We
right?
talked about that he was a banjo player.
I know, but
Okay.
still.
Okay. Anyway,
Anyway, it's probably time to take a break. I'm gonna go get some delicious Wonka bar chocolate and hope for a ticket, and because I deserve it.
we'll be back.
I came up with that on the spot. We'll be back. Yes. We're back, guys. I did not get a ticket, but that's not going to stop me from
Oh
buying
man.
chocolate.
There goes our kids'
And
college
to fund
fund.
that, yes. No, we put that message break in there to fund my habit.
Oh my god.
Um, all right, Michael, you have a habit of doing this rating scale. So would you continue that habit by doing it again?
Well, in the words of Grandpa Joe, what do we got to lose? The highest rating that we have is genius. This is reserved for only the best theories, which we believe are better than the actual canon. The next step down is plausible. It's a good theory, it's believable. Unlikely is next. It's not a terrible theory, but pretty unlikely, as the name suggests. And then the last thing is preposterous. These are the theories that are just stupid. Basically, we're all dumber for having listened to them.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I'm fine with going first on this one.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give this a plausible. Uh, I do see it fitting just fine. He could be that kind of person. I mean, that slouchy hat he wears and that
Hmm.
crummy jacket with the elbow
Mhm.
patches definitely screams gambler to me. Uh,
Yep.
but there's just I feel like just in comparing it to the other Grandpa Joe theory we've done, there's a ton more contextual evidence of showing like, see, nobody's keeping track of him at night. He could be sneaking out at night to go gamble. Like there's none of that in here. And it's like, I mean,
Uh-huh.
OP, yes, it is. Oh, the standard is high here when you're going to do a Grandpa Joe hating theory. So you really have to come with your A game, bring all of your contextual evidence. So, and cite your
Mhm.
sources. So I'm going with plausible.
Well, just like Grandpa Joe, I don't have any standards, so I'm gonna say this is genius. Any theory that's anti Grandpa Joe is probably going to get an
It's all
automatic
right.
genius
It's all
from
right in
me.
Michael's book.
Yeah, I mean he's been accused of being a gambler and an alcoholic. I mean, if somebody wants to throw in a theory about him being a
Thief.
thief or a murderer, then sure, I'm on board.
I could totally buy him being
Oh
a
yeah.
murderer.
Oh gosh, you guys.
You can't?
No, he's too
If
weak
he,
and spindly. I could take
okay.
him.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about now.
Like in
At
a
some
past
point
life,
in
in
his
his
life.
younger life.
Yeah.
That's dark, man.
Yeah.
hmm
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this one. I want it to be genius. I've got to, I do have a set of standards, and I've got to hold myself to them so that people don't say that I'm biased. So I will give this a plausible. Like you said, Laura, I think that we could have some more support. This is definitely an assumption with some circumstantial evidence, I think, if I'm being fair. But I don't see anything that would that would negate this, or like that would rule this out. Like you can't point to any evidence and say, no, this isn't true. Grandpa Joe is not the source of their poverty. You know, because we don't have that. We don't have the source of their poverty, and this could be plausible. All right. Well, I've got a fascinating movie detail for you
I
guys
bet you do.
that I would like to end this show on. You know, it's actually a lot of times I bring these up on movies we all know and love, but this is about a movie I've never seen. So it's great to break these down because you miss things if you just ignore them because you haven't seen them. You know? Is that wise words of wisdom? There's probably a nugget in there somewhere. Anyway, this was pointed out by Starks Forever, no relation to Tony. But they said in The Social Network. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Nope.
Well, I haven't either.
Doing great so far.
And for anyone that has seen it or wants to watch it to catch this fascinating like thing, it's another kind of not continuity, but another kind of error. Around 47 minutes and 13 seconds, actor Jesse Eisenberg inserts a USB into his PC with no issues. In reality, it wouldn't go in the first time. You'd try it the other way around, eventually getting it in the way it was the first time.
That happens every time to me.
It's magic or
Yeah.
something.
Why is that?
Yep.
Why does it do that? I don't get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
USB, something's out to get me in that. Anyway,
It's not just
cool. I like that one. That's a very relatable little
Yes.
nugget. So
Mhm.
thanks for sharing
Bravo.
that.
you. You're welcome.
Bravo.
And on that note, this has been Fan Theory Queries. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer. In our next episode, we ask, is Boo from Monsters, Inc. also Violet from The Incredibles? Subscribe to Fan Theory Queries so you don't miss out on that and other fascinating fan theories.